the Gloves Off podcast. I am your host, Kendall Skalicki.
And I'm Josh Bartosik.
So we missed last week and we didn't really address it, but I kind of forgot.
Someone was like out of town for some like tiny little football game. I think it was called the Super Bowl or something. I don't know.
I was at the Super Bowl with Penn State from Tuesday to Monday, so we missed last week's episode. Josh was toying with doing it by himself, but then he chickened out because he couldn't do it without me.
Yeah, I thought about doing it, and then I was like, it's not the same. I don't know if people really want to listen to me yap for 30 straight minutes uninterrupted.
You would have been great. You'll do it alone soon. But yeah, I am born and raised a Philly sports fan, so like when I found out I was going to the Super Bowl, I didn't know obviously who was going to be in it. It was like a few months prior, and I remember I said to my dad, I was like, oh my gosh, like imagine if the Eagles make it to the Super Bowl. And it was during their like little dip, and he was like, that's not going to happen. And it happened, and it was the best week of my life. It was like so insane. It was really stressful because like you have no idea who's going to be, like, walking around or who they're going to, like, tell me I get to talk to. So I literally had to just, like, be on it. And, like, the team media, like, sessions were so chaotic. The way they did it was, so they would have the podium and, like, coach and a player. So they were kind of rotating. It was, like, Hurts one day, Saquon one day, Travis one day, Patrick one day. And then they would have a second room with mini podiums, but they're all talking at the same time. So you're like, and then there's a third room with all these round tables, and there's like 2 to 3 players at a table, and they literally just say like go. So it's like vultures, and they're just getting. It was like the first day I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna have a heart attack.
Hopefully you don't have claustrophobia, man.
Yeah, it definitely is like very different than what I'm used to. It was crazy, but so much fun. I talked to Cooper DeJean, which was really cool, and then. And then I talked to I asked Saquon a question about Penn State, so that was cool.
You're all over Belisargo Twitter with that one.
Oh yes, they were very excited that I got to ask him a question. He was nice, but I think I asked him that on Friday, and they had been doing media all week, so I think you can tell when they're just like kind of done. Like,
by that point, yeah.
Yeah, I totally get it. But that was really cool. It kind of like, sorry, I'm like word vomiting right now. But
wait, the Super Bowl is like an awesome experience.
Yeah, and it kind of just humanizes them because I feel like we hold these athletes like they're literally superhumans, and then when they're sitting literally 1 foot away from you, you're like, they're literally just a person. Like, they're a really cool person, but like they're just a person, and like have real emotions. They're just doing their job like you're doing their job. So it was really interesting. I think my favorite thing I got to do, not that you asked, was
I mean, I probably was going to ask it eventually.
Was actually Danny Amendola. I got to like.
Really? He was there?
Yeah, you didn't see my post? I like sat down with him for like a few minutes.
Oh, was it on Instagram or was it on
Instagram? Yeah.
Oh, I unfortunately have been on Instagram I think once in the last week. I
am such an Instagrammer, and like I wish.
I'm very anti-Instagram, unfortunately.
Really?
I don't have anything I don't have a whole lot of exciting things to post most of the time.
Yeah. See, I struggle with Twitter because or X. I'm not a tweeter.
I'm a Twitter fiend.
I know most of the boys are, but like I feel like a lot of girls. Like, it's not as big, Twitter. And, like, I need to get into it more because it's huge for sports and stuff, but I struggle. And, like, even TikTok, I have to, like, keep reminding myself I'm trying to post. But, like,
TikTok is tough.
I'm such an Instagrammer. Like, I love Instagram.
Well, it's tough for me to do Instagram because I have to make myself look all pretty, and that takes like, hours, obviously, for me personally. So, it's tough.
Yeah, but I got to sit down with Danny for, like, a few minutes, and he was...
Cool.
I was nervous because he has, like... You know, some people say he's kind of... what's the word? I don't know.
Like, quick to anger?
I don't know. Or he just had that, like, falling out with Xandra, the TikToker.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I was just hearing mixed things, and I was, like, nervous. But, like, he was so nice. Like, so nice. And I actually asked him about... I was working with this guy, Rob, from the AP, and he asked him about football, and then I was like, can I ask him about Dancing with the Stars? And he was like, sure. And then so at the end, I asked him a bunch of Dancing with the Stars questions, and
That's so awesome.
yeah, I think he was like a little bit tired of Super Bowl talk, so he was actually like excited to talk about it.
I keep forgetting he was on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, and it was like the easiest interview I've ever done because I'm like a huge Dancing with the Stars fan. So I didn't even like, Rob after was like, did you prepare that? I was like, no, I genuinely wanted to know the answer to all those questions.
Awesome.
So yeah, sorry, that was a lot, but that was my favorite part. It was the best week of my life when Cooper got that, sorry, one more thing. When the 2 sacks happened in a row, and then Cooper got that interception, that was like the most adrenaline I have felt in my entire life.
That was actually insane watching that live.
Yeah. It was crazy.
I guess not. Well, watching on TV, I wasn't there, obviously, but watching, I was dumbfounded. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was awesome. But
yeah, and Philly also like literally took over the stadium. It
yeah,
was like a
all I
home game.
heard on the entire time was Eagles chants and Eagles fans.
Yeah, it was insane. I was very, very proud to be there. But, like, I was supposed to be unbiased. Like, you're not allowed to cheer in the press box and stuff. And I literally was like, oh, my God. Like, it was insane.
That had to have been so tough after that pick, man. Oh, I would have...
John went to get food during that, so I did, like, stand. I couldn't even control myself. I did, like, stand up. But then I was like, okay, bring it down.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, and then...
that would have been... It's like if Penn State made it to, like, the Frozen Four for hockey. I don't know if I'd be able to contain myself a little bit. I'd try.
And the second, the whole first half was like epic, and then the second half like was still good, but it was almost like in a way you wanted the Chiefs to come back a little because it was like not a game anymore.
I'm glad that you say that too because like I loved that game because I just really wanted to see Patrick Mahomes fail. Sorry, every Kansas City Chiefs fan, it's annoying. The Bills should have been in that game. Clearly, it showed on the field.
Yeah.
But, like, a lot of Eagles fans are like, oh, this is the best Super Bowl of all time. Well, no, actually, it was probably the worst Super Bowl we've had in years.
Yeah.
From, like, a competitive standpoint. The game was over in the second quarter.
Yeah. So, like, it was, like, so heightened, and then the second half, it was just kind of, like, waiting for the clock to run out, because it's like, we got this.
Yeah, and it takes out some of the, like, anticipation and excitement of, like, when the clock hit strike zero, because you already know that you're going to win.
Yeah, they were celebrating with like 6 minutes left. It was crazy.
Because like at halftime, you were probably already celebrating the Super Bowl win while Kendrick Lamar was dissing Drake again, which was awesome.
Yeah, those memes I think are my favorite memes
They're
of the
so
year.
Awesome. They're
It's
so great.
funny.
His little smirk on the. Sorry, Drake. Please don't sue us.
Yeah. Oh my God. That was crazy. But yeah, it was unbelievable. I feel like I'm in a little bit of a state of depression right now because it was like such a high, and now I'm like crashing down.
Well, also you were in New Orleans, which is always warm, and it's been snowing the last 3 days.
Yeah. So I'm literally like, what is the past 2 days? I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, why do I feel? And I'm like, I think I'm just like coming off this high, and I'm like sad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I peaked. Like that was it. That was the best that it's gonna get.
Yeah.
Unless hockey wants to win the tournament, that would be great as well.
Well, the way they're going right now, who knows?
Yes.
Because boys are buzzing.
Yes, sir. So, before we move on to hockey, what did you do for the Super Bowl?
I went to my friend Caitlin's place because everyone in my apartment was gone because Justin was in.
Yes.
And then Anthony went back home because he's a Phillies fan, or a Philadelphia fan. So I went to my friend Caitlin's place, who's also a Philadelphia fan. She lives in Collegeville. Shout out the Murphy household and their uncles uncles and cousins and everyone. I ate so much food.
Oh, so you weren't at Penn State? You went?
No,
okay.
yeah, I went. I drove. It was like a 2.5 hour drive, and then I slept on the couch in the basement. Woke up on Monday, drove us back, but it was a lot of fun because like I didn't want to watch Super Bowl alone, and like her mom and she had invited me, like at the beginning of the week, and I was like, I'm not gonna say no to free food.
Yeah, for sure. So were you were happy with the outcome though?
Yeah, I mean, as a Steelers fan, it's always tough watching the other Pennsylvania team do good.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we're just superior.
Well, true. I also didn't want to be in a household after entirely Eagles household after a loss.
Yeah.
And I also I can't stand Patrick Mahomes. I could not see them win 3 in a row.
See, I feel bad for... I'm not a Travis Kelce fan. Patrick, I don't hate him. I honestly kind of feel for him because I feel like he was trying to carry the team on his back and he had nowhere to go. And then, like, seeing...
Yeah. Yeah.
Afterwards, like, he was obviously crying, and I was just like, damn, like, I felt bad, but...
Yeah, but it's also like, I mean, it won 2 in a row.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I just feel like out of the whole team, he is, like, not that obnoxious. And also, never mind, actually, I just need to stop talking. Yeah, it was just crazy, and I woke up that day, and I was like, I feel really good about this game. Never in a million years did I think they were going to blow them out, though, but it was amazing. I could talk about this for 3 more hours, but we're going to move on. So,
I guess we got to talk about hockey, I guess. Whatever.
At least things are going well, though. So, with that being said, I was very busy this weekend, and, like, actually didn't have 5 minutes to myself, so I was not able to watch the games. I was, like, keeping up on Twitter, but we're gonna play, like, host analyst this episode because Mr. Penn State Hockey knows all, and I was I was a little bit out of it, so that's how this
it seems to be the title that's been going around for me recently.
Yeah. So that's what we're gonna do. So sweep for Penn State at Wisconsin. Josh, break it down for me.
I mean, this, quite frankly, for the most part, until really the third period of game 2, Penn State didn't really play that well, at least in front of Arcetti. They were not sound defensively in front of Arcetti, and the last few times that we've been to meeting, we've talked to coach and the guys, they've said, like, I think we just get a little bit lackadaisical because, like, we know that he's going to make a big save, and, like, we don't play as strong defensively in front of him, and they understand they have to be better at that.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter this weekend because he was, like, so mechanical. It was the best that I think I've ever seen Sergeyev play, and he's been really, really good this second half. But there are times when he gets a little bit jumpy in his crease sometimes and gets a little bit out of position. He was so sound this entire weekend.
Yeah.
He faced so many high-danger shots. He faced 22 shots in the second period of Game 2 alone, and the game was, I think it was tied at that point going into, you know what, I have to remember because it's been so long, but he was really the main reason that Penn State... I feel
like this was so long ago, and I don't know why.
Yeah, well, Penn State was winning in that second period, but he faced 22 shots in that second period, and he did not give up a goal, and then Reese Lawback scoring early in the third really helped them. Power play struggled a bit again, but it's been getting a little bit better. Special teams was relatively good on the penalty kill this week, which was good, because this is a Wisconsin team that's been struggling on the power play. But, I mean, an incredible defensive effort, specifically from Arcetti in Game 1, 4 shutout, sets a program single-season record. Oscar Audio and Peyton Jones both had that previously, I think. Remember Oscar Audio our freshman year before we went to Vermont. That was fun. I mean, this is... I do want to say this is the best they've looked in a long time.
Yeah.
This weekend, because they did get the wins. Defensively, they weren't fantastic. They were good enough. Like, they were good enough recently, or at least in this series, they were good enough to get the job done. And I think that's the really important part, because at times the offense has sort of struggled a little bit, but these past few games, it really has been. I mean, you scored 6 goals in that tie against Ohio State. You've scored at least 3 goals besides the 2-0 win against Wisconsin, but you'll take that any day of the week. You've scored 3 goals in every game since January 11th when you tied Michigan State. The offense has been doing fantastic. I mean, I don't know what else to say about Aiden Fink. I mean, it's ridiculous what he's done. And then Reese Lawback has been incredible since coming back from injury. And I was actually just talking to Reese earlier today about this. Those are 2 guys that had Wisconsin ties. Aiden Fink was originally committed to Wisconsin. Lawback, when he was 16, was committed to Minnesota State. But then when Wisconsin fired Tony Granato and brought in Mike Hastings, that forced Fink to leave because he didn't want to play for Mike Hastings. That forced Reese Lawback to leave Minnesota State because he didn't want to not play for Mike Hastings and came to Penn State. And it's the first time that either one of them has gotten a win against Wisconsin, their time being here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Penn State had lost, I think it was 7 straight against Wisconsin. Maybe even 9, actually. No, it was 7, because they lost the first 2 this year. They got swept last year, and then a year before that they lost on senior day. So, I mean, it was huge. And it's big, too, because this was a really, really important series for the pairwise especially. These were 2 teams that were right, like, in the thick of it and neck, and Penn State moves from 20 to 16, which is big. Wisconsin goes from 17 to 20, and with the way their schedule is lining up, it's going to be tough for them to get back in. But this is a huge, huge win for the guys. I mean, they were fantastic. They looked really, really good. Obviously, you want to clean things up defensively, especially when after this weekend, even this weekend as well, you want to kind of start by playing a little better defensively. Luckily for them, they are playing a very struggling Notre Dame team, but you can't overlook them because they always play Notre Dame very, very tight, and Notre Dame plays them tight. And if you lose this weekend at home to Notre Dame, you kind of have to hope you win the Big Ten tournament to make the NCAA tournament. But you can't overstate how unreal this second half has been. I mean, they're 7-2-3, and when they didn't win a single conference game in the first half of the season, I don't think anybody expected them to be where they are now, especially on the cusp of doing something fantastic and going back to Allentown. And if this team does find a way to get into the NCAA tournament, I can't think of a single opponent that really wants to play Penn State right now, because they are probably the hottest team in college hockey.
For sure. Thank you. That was lovely. Okay,
yes.
I'm going to back up.
You had your yap time. I'd have my yap time.
So I'm going to back up for a second to Wisconsin. So do you feel that they were just playing really bad, or do you feel like it was more Penn State was playing really well, or a mix of both? Like, did Penn State just shut them down, or you know what I mean?
I think it was just Arseny Sergeyev shut them down was the big thing. Because game one, Wisconsin had a ton of chances. I mean, Penn State got the first goal was early from Reese, but then Wisconsin continued to pile on the pressure just over and over, and you really felt like, all right, well, this is where Wisconsin's going to score and tie the game, or this is when it's going to happen, and then it just never happened, and they got the empty net goal, and that was really deflating, and you would think that maybe it would have carried into game two, but Wisconsin scored first, and then it was like, all right, well, now we're seeing the Wisconsin team that we're used to seeing, but Cade Christensen got his first goal a few minutes later. Reese Lawback broke the tie, and then Arseny did what he did the entirety of game one, and he shut the door in that second period, and then when Reese scored the goal to make it 3-1, it did take a lot of the life out. Wisconsin did make it 3-2, but Penn State continued to just kind of do what they need to do, and with the way that Sergeyev has been playing, I'm not going to say they played bad defensively, but there were defensive lapses a lot throughout that series, a lot of high-danger chances for Wisconsin, and they played well, the Badgers did. They really did for the majority of that game, especially offensively. They looked really good, and it's just the fact that they ran into the hottest goaltender and the hottest team in college hockey. That's just kind of the way it goes. It's almost the, not exactly, but kind of inverse of the first time these teams played, because Penn State wasn't necessarily a hot team or a struggling team, but Wisconsin was really, really, really struggling when Penn State played them at the beginning. But Wisconsin was just getting unlucky. They weren't getting the bounces, they weren't getting the puck luck, and Penn State ran into them at the worst possible time. They got their puck luck. They dominated that series. Arseny got hurt, and then this week it was kind of the opposite. But I do want to give a lot of props to Wisconsin because they, quite frankly, probably deserved to win one of these games. But Sergeyev stole both. I think it was either game one or game two where Wisconsin's expected goals for, which is some analytics thing. I'm an analytics nerd. Sorry, it was at 5.4 goals expected.
Wow.
And they scored 0.
Wow.
So it was the Arseny Sergeyev show this weekend. It was also the Reese Lawback show. Both of them were Big Ten stars of the week, but more so Sergeyev. And if he plays like that the rest of the season, I don't know if Penn State gives up a goal. He was that good.
I'm so glad to hear that because I feel like we always knew he was great, but it was a matter of kind of getting his feet back under him. I feel like coming back and the guys getting used to him being back again, and I'm really glad to hear that. So do you feel that, to state the obvious, RC being back is a huge component of why they're so hot right now, but goaltending aside, which I know is kind of hard to do, but do you feel like it was a matter of, so we have so many new guys on this team, do you think it just took them a really long time to mesh, and that's what's helping them out? What would you say, goaltending aside, is the biggest difference in the team right now?
Yeah, I think that we've heard it a little bit when we've talked to Coach, is that everyone has found their role.
Yes.
right? And that's a big thing, is that you have to remember that this is a very young team. They do have a lot of senior and veteran leadership on their team, but 9 freshmen, and you bring in a goaltender from a different conference as well. So it's a lot of new faces, and obviously the goaltender's role is pretty much set in stone, like you know what you're going to do, but 9 new freshmen, and all of them are really seeing a lot of playing time. And I mean guys like Galucci and Fasher are kind of in and out of the lineup every now and again. They kind of rotate, but the majority of those guys are kind of in the lineup a lot. Braden Ford also goes in and out sometimes. And then for the first half of the season, I don't know if anybody really knew exactly what their defined role was on the team. And then as the games continued to go on, when they faced that adversity, not just the fact that they didn't win a conference game in the first half, but they lost their starting goaltender for a month and a half. They faced adversity early, which I think helped both the veteran guys kind of get back on track, and also helped the newcomers, get their feet under them and realize, all right, well, now we got the bad stuff out of the way. It really can't get worse from here. And they started to figure out their roles. Everyone's playing. They're playing like a well-oiled machine. So I think it's really been the fact that everyone, both freshmen and everybody on the team, has found their defined role, and they're playing it to perfection right now.
Yeah. It's just so nice to see them have the mental ability to bounce back, too, because honestly, things felt so low at the end of that first half that it almost, I feel like they could have so easily just given up and been like, we need to get to next year. So it's just really, really cool to see, the resilience from this team, the fight from this team, and, we talk about all the time, that's a huge part of their identity, and I think that's what's going to separate them this second half and as we go into the postseason. And I have, I was going to say I have really high hopes, but every time I say that, things don't go well, so I'm not going to say that. Also, every time I watch away games, they lose. I couldn't watch these, and they won both of them easily. So
next weekend, when they play Michigan State, don't watch.
I feel that I'm just going to have to not watch and let you.
You gotta be superstitious. You have to be superstitious, especially with. They're right there. They're on the cusp of. Regardless of if they make the tournament or not, this is the best comeback from Penn State hockey in program history, without a doubt.
Yeah.
No one had them in this spot after they got swept by Ohio State back in December. It looked like the season was already over, and we were like, all right, well, let's start, worrying about next year. And they've come back with a vengeance. There's been a lot of factors. I'm writing a story about one of the factors, too. It'll be a really fun story that hopefully comes out this weekend if they sweep. It's just been incredible to watch. And it also gives you a lot of hope for, next year and the years after that, because they're going to be missing some key guys next year. Dejaniev, Jimmy Dowd, Tyler Paquette, Carson Dick, all those guys. Dylan Lugris are all guys that are going to be leaving. There's a few others. Simon Mack is a big one as well, and I'm completely blinking, which was crazy. But you still have so much young talent, too, and you have more freshmen coming in, and it really has been the underclassmen leading the way, at least in terms of the offense and scoring and getting on the score sheet. So, and it gives you a lot of hope that this program is trending in a crazy, crazy positive direction. They've always been a good program, but they're trending towards elite, and that's going to be really scary moving forward.
Before we wrap up, last time we faced Notre Dame, shootout loss, and then we took them 3-0. So predictions for this weekend, what does Penn State need to do to keep this momentum going?
It's simple for Penn State, and it sounds simple, and you would like to think that this is what the majority of the team is thinking about, but you can't help but not look ahead. And that's the problem, is that you can't look ahead. You can't look past this Notre Dame team. Because, look, the last 4 times that these teams have played in Pagula, it's either been a 1-goal game or it's been a tie. And
it's really interesting because I feel like no matter how either team's season is going, this matchup
so close.
Yeah, it's always so tight. And it doesn't really make sense, but it's interesting to see.
And it's gotten to and now it's at a point for Penn State where they're not playing with house money anymore. You're playing for something. You're playing to make it back to the NCAA tournament. You're playing to potentially get home ice advantage in the Big Ten tournament. If Michigan and Wisconsin keep losing and you keep winning, you have a chance to play in front of your home crowd for the first time in several years in the Big Ten tournament, because you've always been, even when they were good 2 years ago, they still finished 6th in the Big Ten because that's how crazy competitive it's been. It's still competitive this year, but you cannot look past Notre Dame no matter how bad they've been. Yeah, they lost to Lindenwood a few weeks ago, and yeah, they got outscored 10-2 against Ohio State last weekend. But they also scored 7 goals on Michigan
Yeah.
a few weeks ago and beat Minnesota on the road, a team that you play in a few weeks back in Pagula to finish the season in the Wear White games. You cannot overlook it. It's Jeff Jackson's final season. I'm sure he would love nothing more than play spoiler to a few of these teams down the road.
Yeah.
And the biggest team he can play spoiler to right now is Penn State, getting a road win or two, or even tying Penn State. You have to find a way to win these in regulation. An overtime win isn't terrible for Penn State. And a loss, like one loss, doesn't really hurt you. You drop to 17 from 16, but you have to keep the momentum going. You cannot overlook it, and obviously it's going to be tough because you're playing the number 2 team in the nation next week against Michigan State.
Yeah.
And it's going to be on the road, and everyone's really excited. But I think that after talking to Reese Lawback today and the guys yesterday, they know what they have to do. They understand the task ahead of them, and they're not really nervous. They're kind of just excited to keep playing because of how great they've been playing. But the biggest key is you cannot overlook this team, and I don't think anybody will.
Yeah, it's a really, really good point, though, because I think everyone all of a sudden is like, oh my God, like we have a chance at the tournament. But, like, again, these games are always really, really tight. But, like, if they keep playing the way that they are, they should blow them out. And
You would think, yeah.
But we never know, especially with Penn State hockey. I feel like every time we get a little too confident, we get humbled quickly. So I'm hoping that they stay grounded, as you said, stay present, because they can 100% take this team both nights, I think.
Yeah, and this is also the first time that we've been in college where it's not Ryan Bischel and net for Notre Dame. And
that was so annoying.
That's been the biggest problem for Notre Dame this year is that their goaltending, they can't seem to figure it out. Owen Say has been okay. Nicholas Kempf played against Penn State in the Frozen Confines. He was really good, but they're both so streaky. They don't have a solid number 1 goaltender. And
Bischel was just unstoppable. I hated playing them because it was like, even no matter how well we played or like broke down their defense, we just
couldn't get like 50 saves.
Yeah, insane.
I think his career save percentage against Penn State was like in the 950s. It was actually so stupid. He was gross against Penn State, but that's huge in Penn State scoring at a very high rate right now, especially after last weekend against Wisconsin. But yeah, I think that's where the coaching staff comes into play, and I think this is one of Godowski's really big positives. I mean, there's so many positives about him, but one of his best traits is that he has not once cared about the rankings or the pairwise. He keeps his team focused on one game at a time, and that is also part of the reason why, even when they were down, 0-8 in conference play, or really 0-8-1, if you go back to the Frozen Confines game, they didn't really think that they were exactly out of it. They thought that they were fine, and so they continued to play. They kept their heads down. They continued to work, and I think that's going to be big. I also do think that these next 4 games at Pagula, these last 4 games, because it's the last 4 games, at least, unless they somehow make it into the Big Ten tournament as a home team, they did just set the program or the attendance record last time they were home against Ohio State. Would not be shocked if they break it one or both nights against Notre Dame this weekend, because I think everybody on this campus, and even people that aren't exactly on this campus but are traveling for this game, know exactly what is at stake this weekend. And if they keep playing like that, if they sweep here, and if they somehow steal one or even like tie against Michigan State, and you come home for the final home series for the Wear White against Minnesota with a chance to make the tournament, not only that, but against your former starting goaltender, Liam Soulier. I said it earlier today when I was talking to somebody, you might see 7,000, over 7,000 people in this stadium, or in that arena, for the final few games of the season. It's going to be that crazy, and I think Pagula is going to be the place to be this weekend if you're at Penn State.
So exciting. Okay, score prediction.
This is tough because I hate doing these because every time I did them, I was wrong.
I know. But
I do think, with the way that Penn State is playing, I do think they get the sweep. I think Game 1 is going to be tight. I think Game 1 is going to be one of those one-goal games. I think Notre Dame comes out with a lot of fire because they understand that, I mean, look, their season's over, but they can destroy, they can ruin someone else. They can ruin someone else's season.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, you love playing spoiler, especially on the road. It just gives you that extra fire in your heart a little bit. So I'll take Penn State 3-2 in that one, and then I think they win a little bit more comfortably on Saturday. I'll go 4-1 on Saturday, but I do think Penn State gets a sweep. But one of these games or even both, but at least one of these games, I can almost guarantee it. If there's a betting line on it, I would take it that one of these games is a 1-goal game with the way that these teams play.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I was literally going to say the exact same thing. That was kind of weird.
We're so in sync.
I was going to say the exact same numbers. So we can just hope for the best. I feel really good though. I feel like I'm not hoping. I feel like I'm confident now. Like if anything, we'll be disappointed if we win. I'm gonna be like, yeah, I knew it. We got this.
Yeah, but it's a lot different feeling than I had this past week in Massing. Because I was like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Like, I have no idea what's gonna happen. Like they could either win both, they could lose both, they could tie, they could do whatever. And this one, there's confidence, but it's cautious confidence.
Yes.
And I think that's also the way the team is right. Like they understand. Like they're not going to overlook any opponent they ever have. They're not going to here. They understand what's ahead of them, and they know that. Look, if you win these 2 games, you're playing for the NCAA tournament in the Final 4 games of the season. Simple as that.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I can't believe. I'm like, how did we get here? This is just insane. But I think if RC's on, if Fink and Reese are on, I mean, they're just like, the two of them together is just unbelievable. And then I think Charlie Serrato, I just love watching him play. I think he's
so dynamic.
Yeah.
He wasn't even, I mean, he had a pretty good weekend. He just wasn't lighting up on the score sheet like we're used to seeing, and they still outscored Wisconsin 8-2. So, I just imagine what he's going to do.
I just feel like his energy is almost contagious. Like, I feel like he's so passionate and, like, plays so tough that, like, even when he's not all over the score sheet, like, his energy just, like, affects the whole team.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Everyone on that team, and Godowski said something about it, too. I mean, they got snowed in after the game on Saturday, so they didn't leave until Sunday, but obviously, if you're going to get snowed in, it's great to happen after a sweep, and he said that, I mean, the guys are, like, they're having fun.
Yeah.
They're playing carefree, but not, like, careless, and that's dangerous if you're on the other team. If the guys you're playing against are playing like it's pond hockey, but they're beating the crap out of you, which is what Penn State's been doing 9 in and 9 out these last 2 weeks. So
crazy. Are you working?
I am. You will catch me on Big Ten Plus.
Yay!
You'll catch both of us on Big Ten Plus, actually.
Okay, fun. Okay, well then I'll see you Friday,
yes.
And we'll see what happens. We'll be back on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yes, back on Wednesday. Sorry, it's been a long week.